So we're taping this at about 2 p.m. Eastern today, and about 9 p.m. Eastern tonight, President Obama is going to give a big speech, which a lot of what he's going to talk about is already being leaked. And it sounds like we are going to go to war in Iraq, in Syria, with ISIL, IS, ISIS, whatever you want to call it. Are we going to have congressional approval? He's saying he doesn't need it. Now, again, the speech is tonight, so we'll see if anything changes today. This all seems extremely disappointing to me because I believe that Congress is supposed to declare war and the president's supposed to execute it, not the other way around. But President Obama is already claiming that that's not the case, which is exactly what he did a year ago in Syria when he wanted to have airstrikes that we didn't have. And by the way, he already went ahead and did this once in Libya a couple of years ago. Remember, we had that Xbox Connect military action or whatever they called it. Okay, so I have Cenk and Steve who know more about politics than I do. So I'm just so disappointed in this already. And I know we're jumping the gun a little bit, but that's why I wanted to do it, because I wanted to get us on the record before everybody. You can already see it in the media. Everybody is ready to go to war. Cenk, you're jumping at your seat already, so let's start.
So Chris Matthews is at it again. Today he was talking about how we're going to have to get our hands dirty in fighting ISIS. And later he'll claim that he didn't want to go into Iraq and Syria.
Precisely what he did
during the Iraq War.
Yeah.
Identical. He said that Bush should go out on Mount Rushmore for what he did in Iraq, and then later said, oh no, I was against the Iraq War the whole time, right? Yeah. So now, look, we were the first show in covering how horrific ISIS is. They're the exact people that is diametrically opposed to everything we believe in, right? As progressives, you can't find a more polar opposite for progressives than ISIS, right? Yeah. So
we're for heads.
Yes, we're pro-heads, they're anti-heads,
yeah,
right?
There you go.
You got to get congressional authorization.
Yeah, so let's just back up a little bit and lay the legal framework for how this is supposed to work.
Yeah, let me throw the quotes in real quick and then you can take away the legal stuff. So first, let's start with what President Obama told Chuck Todd on Meet the Press on Sunday. Here we go. He said he's confident that I have the authorization that I need to protect the American people. Okay, that's extremely vague, but that's what he was saying the first time. Now let's just look at a quote that he said in 2007. This is when he was a senator before he was president. Didn't really believe the same thing. The president does not have the power under the Constitution to unilaterally authorize a military attack in a situation that does not involve stopping an actual or imminent threat to the nation. And as Obama made clear on his Sunday appearance on Meet the Press, this is not the case in Iraq or Syria. That's President Obama to Charlie Savage. He said, I want everybody to understand that we have not seen an immediate intelligence about threats to the homeland from ISIL. That's not what this is about. Okay, so now Steve, you can clean that up for us.
Right, so if the country is going to go to war, Congress has to declare war. Now, in limited military action against an imminent threat, the president can act unilaterally without getting pre-approval from Congress. But here, there is no imminent threat to the United States from ISIS.
As Obama said right there.
As he said. And this is the exact way you need to get congressional authority to go to war. Now, the saddest part of all of this is that our president is completely backtracking from the position that he had as a candidate for presidency when he spoke very eloquently about the restraint of power on the presidency and the need to go through the proper channels. And now he's basically completely adopted John Yoo's ridiculous unitary executive policy. And John Yoo is crowing all around saying, yup, this is the Bush policy and now it's the Obama policy.
Okay,
it's
so
sickening and pathetic.
So real quick, John Yoo, he was a former legal counsel in the Bush administration, and let's look at his quote on this. This is what he said when he was in the Bush administration when they were trying to legitimize everything they were doing. The president may deploy military force preemptively against terrorist organizations or states that harbor or support them, whether or not they can be linked to the specific terrorist attack of September 11th. This is basically the justification that Obama is going to use tonight.
So John Yoo's, in essence, Dick Cheney's lawyer, right, along with David Addington. And I thought that he should be banned from being a law professor anywhere in the country because of how hideous and ridiculous his torture memos were, his preemptive strike, unitary executive authority memos, et cetera. Now, the guy we elected for change has adopted all of Cheney's lawyers' tactics. So let's establish a couple of things. First of all, President Obama is a liar. Okay, he lied about change. It was a fundamental lie of his campaign. Change, change, change. When he apparently never intended to bring us change. Okay, he intended to do slight little changes around the corner, right? Pocket change, right? So now the second thing is, it's not just bad policy; it's also bad politics. Now, who's pushing President Obama into this action? Everybody, right? TV, the Republicans, certainly, John McCain's of the world. Also, a lot of Democrats coming out saying we have to be tougher. All right, great. Then you authorize it.
Right. So then that's the part I don't get about this. If I agree with you, the media clearly has no problem going to war. The Republicans are all about it right now, and even some of the Democrats are now into it. So why is he either afraid or reluctant to go to Congress here?
I don't know, but I want to go back to the legal authority and all of this because it drives me freaking crazy. So John Yoo is, heralded as some sort of genius, some sort of legal genius for coming up with these theories. But it's not. It's just by fiat. He's just making stuff up. So he says with torture, he's like, okay, torture is not allowed. So you know what? Let's just call it enhanced interrogation. Then it's okay. So it's not any kind of clever legal theory. It's just utter bullshit. Okay. When it comes to the Fourth Amendment, he just put in a footnote to a memo. The Fourth Amendment does not apply to domestic military action. On what basis? On what legal precedent? He just made this up. And then Dick Cheney and everyone turns around and says, see, our lawyer said it's okay.
So isn't that what they do, though?
That is the mind-boggling tautology that drives me crazy, because you hire lawyers, these charlatans, to say exactly what you want them to say. Then you turn around and say, see, it's justified for me to do what I want to do, what I want to do all along. And the worst part of all, Dave and Cenk, is for me, is that this is coming from President Obama, a former constitutional law professor. Okay, George Bush is not a smart guy. We all get that. Okay, he went to school based on his connections, and he fucked around and got high all the time. But Obama worked hard. Okay, and he's a smart guy. He's a thoughtful man. He also got high all the time, which is fine.
He was just having a good time.
But it really, really just breaks my heart, breaks my faith in the system in so many ways that Obama is going the Bush route, using Bush's guys to do exactly what Bush did. And it's ridiculous.
So why isn't he going to Congress? If we look, to me, I'm not a military planner, as I say all the time, so I don't know what we should do there. However, I do believe we should abide by the laws of this country.
Right.
So if he said, I'm going to lay out the case, and now I'm going to go to Congress, and then Congress authorized it, I would say at least the process worked.
It's really stunning how bad he is at politics when it doesn't come to his own specific election. Like in his elections, he was strong and
flawless.
I mean, he mutilated Mitt Romney. Okay, he ran great ads, etc. Right? But when he gets to policy issues, he's like, and he's tripping over himself. Look, if they're pushing you to war, all right, let me try to bring down the superlatives here. But look, why wouldn't you get them on the hook politically by saying, hey, you guys authorized this war, you wanted to do this war. Now, if it goes south on them, they're going to say, one, it was your idea to go to war, it's your fault. Number two, we didn't authorize it, and so we were against it. And number three, you abused your authority to do it, and it's an impeachable offense.
So that's what I've written right here. Doesn't it give him cover? So that's so, but we don't think he's an idiot. So then what's actually happening?
I actually do think his advisors are idiots. I really do.
But I don't, so, all right. But
on immigration, they're incredibly stupid. I did a story on the Young Turks last night on this. They're being incredibly stupid, and I'll tell. But really, the real reason he's doing it, and it doesn't mean, it's not meaning that just because they're stupid doesn't mean there's no reason. It's just I think they're calculating it wrong. So their calculation here is, well, if we go to ask for permission from Congress, it'll look weak. And everybody's telling us we look weak. Chuck Todd was on TV today comparing me to Jimmy Carter. We gotta look strong, and strong presidents don't ask for permission. They just break the law and invade several countries at the same time.
Yeah.
That's so stupid. But that's what they mistake strength for.
Yeah.
When real strength is the courage of your convictions and saying, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm doing it, and if you don't like it, I'm gonna kick your ass.
Yeah. I think there might be something else too. I think maybe he thinks that if he goes to Congress and doesn't get authority, because the Republicans dick him over, and then he can't go and do anything, and then they'll say, "Why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you do anything?"
I
right?
agree with you,
so
because
he's a little bit screwed in that regard.
So that's what happened last time, though, right? Because then the world wasn't behind him, and it seemed like he was going to have to do it alone. This time, it seems very obvious to me that he would get whatever he wants out of Congress.
In some ways, I guess now that we've had this conversation, I'm glad that he's not asking for authorization, because he would get it, and then all future presidents could use that authorization to invade any country they like in the Middle East indefinitely, because it's not even a specific country at this point. We're talking about ISIS that's in Iraq, Syria, and a little bit in Lebanon, and God knows where else they're going to.
Yeah.
So thank God he's not asking for the authorization, because it would be abused.
Yeah.
But you're right, it would seem in Washington like a political defeat if he didn't get authorization. Right. But in my world, I'd be like, look, this is a mess. And if Congress doesn't authorize it, then I turn around and go, these sons of bitches made the mess. It's their fault.
Exactly.
I mean, but see, you're a smart guy and savvy. You're playing three-dimensional chess. He's playing checkers. Maybe he's playing Connect Four. I don't know. But
Connect Four can be quite confusing.
Actually, you're right. But he doesn't. I think he wants to go. Okay, he thinks he has to go in, and he's afraid of risking a political loss at this moment, not realizing that a loss today is actually a giant win later. Because it's definitely going to go south. It's not going to go well. Who thinks it's going to go well?
I'm pretty sure our military exploration in the Middle East usually goes well.
But the reason why I want congressional authority for any such action is because I want people on the hook. I want names. I want people standing on the Senate floor, on the Congress's floor, and saying, "I vote in favor of this action." And I'm representing my constituents. And then when that happens, I want people to see it. When dead bodies come back from fighting, our soldiers are dead, I want them to see it. There has to be an informed decision, not this bullshit rush to war, to the drum beats of the media, and all the war profiteers are saying yes, 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 and then we got a lot of money, and then we tune it to some Kardashians or whatever it may be, and we can't even show caskets of our service people coming back from the war.
Yeah.
Three words characterize Obama in conclusion. Afraid, afraid, afraid. Always acting out of fear, worrying about what Washington conventional wisdom is going to say about him. It's just an incredibly short-sighted strategy.
I mean, this is the perfect example. I mean, no one really knows what the right answer is with ISIS, okay? Because, we also hate Assad, but, ISIS also hates Assad.
Right, so we strengthen him accidentally.
Yeah. And so we don't really know what we should do, and no one really has the answers. This is a perfect time to go to Congress, come up with a consensus, and come up with a plan. And then if that plan fails, it fails, okay? But at least you have a plan going forward, and you're not rushing into it.
So then final thought on this, because we do have to wrap up. So to your afraid point, is this to me strikes me as what will be the biggest failure of him, forgetting all the hope and change that didn't happen, all that. This idea that he was the guy that could have sat us all down. He could still do it tonight. I hope everything we said here is wrong. But it seems to me that he's still the guy that could sit us all down and say, look, this thing is happening. I'm going to go through the proper channels. This is why we have to do it. I know we've fucked up the Middle East, but we still have responsibilities and all that. But he won't do that. And that's the part that saddens me more than anything else here. So bring us home. One more each.
For me, the saddest part is that all the law breaking and all the bad things that the Bush administration did during their 8 years, that reign of terror, this progressive president, so-called progressive president, has embraced all of it and has normalized it. And going forward, that's the new order. And that is the worst part of it all.
Michael Moore just said President Obama, unfortunately, will be known only for being the first black president. He's done nothing else, accomplished nothing else. And today, you're right, Dave, he has the opportunity to change the game, to give a different kind of speech, one where he explains why we have to follow the Constitution, why we elected him in the first place, right? But he will not give that speech. He will give a speech tailor-made to the Washington insiders, who will then say he's tough for a day and a half, and then immediately change their minds and pillory him for all the decisions that they forced him into. And he's never going to catch up. He's always going to play from behind. He believes his presidency is already over. All he's going to do is float in the wind with conventional wisdom until he leaves office. And it is really, really sad.
All right. Well, I rarely end the video saying that I hope that we're wrong on this one, but I hope that we're wrong, and watch in a couple hours, and I guess we'll find out.